afternoon, everyone. So, I'll be giving some practical tips on staying safe against cyber crimes. But at the same time, I would also be introducing to you our agency as an introductory part of my presentation. So, the law that created the Cybercrime Investigation Coordinating Center is Republic Act 10175, an act that defines cybercrime, providing for the prevention, investigation, suppression, and the imposition of penalties, therefore, and for other purposes. Among the other purposes, of course, is the creation of the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center. Then it was sponsored by the late Senator Edgardo Angara when he said that this measure will deter people from committing crimes because the virtual world will no longer be a lawless realm. So we want really to make cyberspace a safe haven for all Filipinos, specifically for our children. So our current executive officers, Attorney Renata A. Paraiso, our new Deputy Executive Director, was just sworn in yesterday as the newest head of the CICC. Of course, he's being assisted by 3 directors. Director Patricia May Abejo for the Administrative and Finance Office, Attorney Alvin Navarro for the Cybercrime Policy Plans and Coordination Office, and lastly from Rodjun Viosilios, the Director of Cybercrime Investigation Office. Our mission is to prevent and suppress cybercrimes that will protect people and assure the integrity of the nation's digital information. As we all know, digital transformation is one of the main points that President Marcos would want to really focus on. In fact, we believe that's one of the reasons why Secretary Henry Aguda was the one appointed as the newest DICT Secretary. Of course, our vision is to be the leader in developing capabilities in combating cybercrime and creating the space for operational and technological collaboration and resource sharing. Our mandate are as follows: to protect and secure the country through effective institutional programs and policy development to combat cybercrime, to strengthen domestic and international cooperation on cybercrime, on cyber intelligence, investigation, digital operations. This is my division, actually. I'm handling the International Cooperation Cybercrime Division. So we'll be strengthening our partnership with foreign companies that are our partners in the fight against cybercrimes, like Interpol, among others. To promote cybercrime awareness, institutionalize cybercrime prevention capacity build-up. Yes, we're partnering with other government agencies like law enforcement authorities, the PNP, ACG, the NBI Anti-Cybercrime Unit, so as to capacitate all of these people who are fighting against cybercrime. And lastly, to ensure the Filipino people are happy and secure online. So some of the initiatives is, of course, we have our Interagency Response Center. It's a 24/7 complaint center where you could report cybercrimes. Our hotline is 1326. Here, hotline 1326. And we have also dedicated numbers from the 3 major telcos that we have right now. From DITO, it's 0991-481-4225. For Smart, it's 0947-714-7105. And for Globe, it's 0966-976-5971. Of course, these are the ways where you could report complaints. You could chat with our chatbot, Siri. You could email us at report@cicc.gov.ph. You could call, of course, our hotline 1326. And lastly, you could visit us our office at number 49 Don Alejandro Rosas Avenue, DICT Compound, Barangay Paligsahan, Quezon City. I just would like to inform you that I think we'll be staying only in that location until December of this year. We're looking already for a better office. Sabi nga, sorry for our foreign guests. But the mandate that was given to us by Secretary Henry is, if you will take the MRT or LRT, you don't need anymore to walk long. Just upon going down the MRT is just a short travel, so that you could our offices would be very close to the people. Key definition and concepts under the law. Cybersecurity refers to the collection of tools, policies, risk management approaches, actions, training, best practices, assurance, and technologies that can be used to protect our cyber environment. Cybercrime, of course, basically cybercrimes are those crimes that are committed through the use of computers and other technologies. Competent authority. Yeah, under the law, CICC, along with the Department of Justice Office of the Cybercrime, are mentioned to be the competent authorities. Law enforcement authorities are the PNP and the National Bureau of Investigation. And according to our newly appointed Deputy Executive Director, cybersecurity is a collective effort that involves everyone. So these are the crimes that may be committed against the cybercrime. The RA 10175 or Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, as well as the imprisonment period and the fine that you need to pay if and when you are found to have committed a cybercrime. So just a snapshot of some of the cybercrimes or offenses that may be committed. So what is cybercrime? It's, of course, as I mentioned already, those committed through the use of computers or other technologies. Types of cybercrimes are email and internet fraud, identity fraud, theft of financial or card payment data, theft and sale of corporate data, cyber extortion, ransomware attacks, cryptojacking, and cyber espionage. So most cybercrimes are of two categories. First, those that targets the company or even the individuals, and those that uses computers to commit other crimes. Cybercrime that targets computers often involves viruses and other types of malware. So one of the main example of this is phishing, where you receive email that has an attachment to it, and you would be directed to click that link. So if there's an attachment to your email, most often than not, it's a phishing email. So that's one practical tip: don't open that email; just delete it. So cybercrimes that stops users using a machine or network or prevents are often those that take place due to denial of service or the DOS attack. So these are the cybercrimes under the European Convention on Cybercrime: illegally intercepting or stealing data, interfering with systems in a way that compromises a network, infringing copyright, illegal gambling, selling illegal items online, and soliciting, producing, or possessing child pornography, which is one of the most prevalent cybercrime in the Philippines. That's why we really need to make cyberspace a safe haven for our children. It's just so unfortunate that here in the Philippines, some of the OSAIC cases are even being committed by the parents. The most common types of cyber threats, of course, malware, phishing, man-in-the-middle attack, SQL injection, DNS tunneling, and the distributed DOS attacks or distributed denial of service attacks. So there is a study that mentioned that the impact of cybercrime, a single attack, whether it's data breach, malware, ransomware, or DDoS attack, cost companies of all sizes an average of at least $200,000 US dollars losses, and of course the reputational damage that goes with it. So for identity fraud losses, way back in 2021, it already totaled 56 billion US dollars, and the effect of cybercrime for both individuals and companies can be profound, primarily financial damage, but also loss of trust, and as I mentioned, reputational damage that may even lead to the closure of our companies or businesses. So here are some practical tips on how you would protect yourselves against cybercrime. Can you still understand me? I'm talking very, very fast. Keep software and operating system updated. It's not enough that you install operating systems within our hardware, but we need also to update those operating systems. Of course, we need to install also antivirus software, but again, if the installation is not enough, we need to update the virus, the antivirus. One case in point is PhilHealth, the leakage that happened in PhilHealth some 2 years back, and the reason given by top management is that they encountered problems with their procurement. That's why they were not able to update their antivirus. Of course, it left more than close to 100 million records of Filipinos that were affected in that leakage. Third is, of course, use strong passwords. And how do we create strong passwords? By following some of these considerations. First, it should be long, at least 8 in characters. Second, it should be alphanumeric, a combination of numbers and letters. For letters, there should be an uppercase and lowercase. It can be one uppercase and the rest lowercase, one lowercase, the rest are uppercase. Lastly, you should include also special characters. And of course, if I may add in, don't use guessable passwords like your date of birth, the name of your favorite dog, or whatever. Fourth is never open attachment spam emails. As I mentioned earlier, if the email has an attachment that you need to click, then most often than not, it's a phishing email. Phishing email. So just delete it. But phishing has also evolved. It's not anymore limited to emails. We now have what we call phishing, which is through the use of voice call, and smishing through the use of short messaging or text messaging. Do not click on links in spam emails or untrusted websites. Yes, if how do you make sure that it's a trusted website? Well, it should be preceded right now by HTTPS. It's not anymore enough that it is preceded by HTTP. S there stands for secure website, HTTPS. Do not give out personal information unless secure. Yes, it's very timely that our event here is I Am Secure Forum 1, because we need to be secure in giving out our personal information. As they say, for those that are offering free passwords, free gifts, or whatever online, the payment for that are our personal information. So don't click on those links. Okay? Contact companies directly about suspicious requests. Yes, if you receive like alleged emails or offers from banks, from other companies, you call them directly. Don't believe the offers that you are getting. Number 8 is be mindful of which website URLs you visit. As I mentioned, it should be preceded by HTTPS. Of course, keep an eye on your bank statements. Yes, we get to receive a lot of text messages or emails or whatever that tells us our bank accounts have been compromised. Don't believe that. If you receive such messages or emails, call your bank to verify whether it's true or not. So what is social engineering? One of the most common, of course, cybercrime also is social engineering. And it's a term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interactions. What is very dangerous about social engineering is that it requires an action on our part. It relies on human error. So, like for example, your bank statement is or your bank account is compromised. Can you provide us with your OTP or your PIN, personal information number? So once you give it, there's the participation of the human already, the man or the person. So there's the human error that goes with it. Social engineering life cycle, of course, the preparation, the deception, the obtaining of the information, and lastly, closing the interaction, ideally without arousing any suspicion. And it's just the same as I mentioned earlier. Don't open emails and attachments from suspicious sources. Use multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is simply not anymore reliant on passwords. Even if you provide your password, they will tell you, can we check your phone number, your phone, and click there whether you're really the one who is accessing your emails or other accounts. How to report a cybercrime? Again, I already mentioned that earlier, but I just would like to emphasize in the Philippines, there are 3 ways. First is through our hotline. Again, it's 1326. Report it via email, report@cicc.gov.ph. Of course, earlier we have also a chatbot, but of course, people who will be reporting cybercrimes would want to talk to real agents. That's why I'm promoting really 1326. And of course, you could visit us personally at our office at Roses Avenue. So these are just some work from home cybersecurity tips, but enable multi-factor authentication, install the latest patches on all your devices, be mindful of our connectivity, log off of devices after use, protect any sensitive online meetings, do not mix personal and business use of devices, and safeguard your home network. Of course, some tips to avoid being scammed. I was interviewed in a podcast and I mentioned that if you don't know the number, don't answer it, because I've always believed that if the call is important, they will text us if we don't answer it. They will introduce themselves and say that this is this is Sir Chito Jacinto calling you. So that will be the clicker for that. Of course, don't provide our OTPs because banks and other financial institutions will never ask for our OTPs or even our PINs. Watch out. Of course, our banks are giving out already some tips on how we could identify scam texts, scam emails, and even scam voice calls. There. So OTP does not only refer or to stand for one-time password. It also stands for O, that's private. So don't ever provide for your personal information. So fake news, you should know that these are not official BDO offer because it did not come from the bank itself. The sender only provided numbers only. Of course, you also can receive warnings from NTC, the National Telecommunications Office, Land Bank itself, from the group of Sir Archie, and of course Union Bank. They're through their CyberSure reminders. And according to, I mean, anonymously, this was mentioned, but cyber criminals are like witches, casting spells with evil stitches. Only strong security can keep their magic at bay. So the year 2020, we saw a wave of cyber attacks, Twitter, among others, Zoom, passwords, Magellan Health, and the MGM Resorts and Marriott International. And in the Philippines, these are some of the common cyber threats: malware, phishing, man-in-the-middle attack, SQL injection, de-standing, distributed denial of service. And lastly, according to Rakesh Soni, protecting consumer data should be a top priority for any organization. As the world continues to take a larger step towards online systems, more and more personal information becomes available. And this presents large-scale opportunities for cyber hackers, which could result in major losses for companies. So best quotation on data breach also, most people are starting to realize that there are only two different types of companies in the world. Those that have been breached and know it, and those that have been breached but doesn't know it. These are the people who mentioned this. You don't find the name Chito Jacinto here. And these are just some quotations on cybercrime. Cybercrime is the greatest threat to every company in the world, according to Jeannie Rometty. According to Janet Reno, everybody should want to make sure that we have the cyber tools necessary to investigate cybercrimes and to be prepared to defend against them and to bring people to justice who commit them. According to, of course, to Benjamin Franklin, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And according to James Scott, ransomware is unique among cybercrime because in order for the attack to be successful, it requires the victim to become a willing accomplice after the fact. And on that note, let me say thank you, and you could reach me out through my social media accounts.